Welcome everyone to another episode of 10K Movies. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tom and JD. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing good, JD. How you doing?
Great, fellas.
Awesome. It's been a while since we last recorded. We had a lot of stuff going on in our lives that was, not consistent at all. So trying to get back in the swing of things here. But since we haven't really recorded recently, we're kind of in the middle of NFL season right now. Right now, actually, recording this on Monday night, so still got a game to play tonight, which I think we're in week 8 or 9.
8 or 9. I think it's nine.
So
Yeah.
basically halfway through. Figure it might be a good time to get your guys' gauge on it so far, see what early maybe sleep or Super Bowl picks are this far into it, and then maybe we can revisit this again back when playoffs start. But Tom, you want to give us a quick year preview at least?
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, based on where we are right now, my pick might be a little surprising, but representing the AFC right now, I've got the Baltimore Ravens
Okay.
taking on the defending NFC champs, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Two
And
birds.
I've Battle of the Birds, and I've got the non-cheating Harbaugh coming out on top, winning his second Super Bowl. So
Damn, Ravens
that's
winning
where I am
all.
right now. I think the Ravens, I like what the Ravens are doing. They're, no pun intended, but they're flying under the radar, and they are dude, they're just good as hell. Like they are like they've got guys hurt. Like obviously Dobbins got hurt in the first game, but like their defense is insane. There's a lot of like, I think this year there's so many insane defenses, like Ravens, Browns, obviously the Niners, the Jets who are playing tonight. There's
Chiefs.
a lot of like
Chiefs
Chiefs. Like
defense
there's a lot
is
of like
legit.
historically good defenses, it seems like. But Ravens are no slouch either, and they've just been like quietly like destroying teams. Like they killed the Lions, who have looked really good. Um, they killed whoever they played yesterday. I can't even remember. Um, and then on the flip side, you got the Eagles who beat the Cowboys. The Niners look vulnerable. The Niners would have been my like safe bet as like, holy shit, nobody's stopping these guys. Like they have everything working on offense, everything on defense. They've been struggling. So it's tough to say. It's getting really exciting, I feel like, because like the Bengals are resurgent, the Bills are
Big time.
slumping, the Chiefs are winning, or they won last week, but like not pretty. So I think there's a lot of up in the air. I think the Eagles though still have the best team in the NFC for sure. I like the Ravens to get hot. Lamar's just kind of quietly steering the ship. He's not making a lot of mistakes. So that's my pick right now. I kind of want to get that out there. I feel like Chiefs Eagles is kind of the obvious pick, but that's where I'm at right now. I think Ravens are doing a lot of good things. They run the ball well, so that's big in the postseason. But what about you guys? JD, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I actually don't even like the pick I'm putting out there, but if anything, my bet slips will show you is I have no idea what's happening. So I'm going with something. I think this might be a shock to some of the people that know me, but I'm going Bengals
Colts.
over 49ers. I actually
Damn.
I like
don't like the
that.
Bengals. I don't think they're actually that good. I think they're pretty good. I don't think they're like that good though, but I think they're going to beat the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs. Really high ratings games and like kind of rivalries, definitely with the Chiefs, not as much the Bills. And then the 49ers seem to always get there and never do anything. So yeah, that's my pick.
I like that pick.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. I'm going with how the season started, and that's with Chiefs and Lions. I think
Interesting.
the Lions are kind of just like hopeful, which not that I'm like super rooting for them. They are very likable though, but they're, in the same division as the Bears, but they're one that I've just never really hated. Like I hate the Packers, can't stand them. Not really huge on the Vikings, but Lions have just lost so much that it's like hard to like really hate them. And they just have a lot of likable players. Coach is awesome. I think the NFC is so wide open, honestly, that it's going to be kind of nuts on that side of the bracket, just because Niners looked like the best team ever in the first like 4 or 5 weeks until they lost, and then they lost what 2 more after that, and
Yeah.
or maybe just one. But I think they are definitely vulnerable, and maybe teams have figured them out a little bit. Who knows? I just think Eagles obviously have the best record, but I just feel like they haven't looked that great still. Like, I know they keep winning, but there's just something a little different about them than last year. Like last year they kind of cruised. This year they have had like scares, like at least 3 of the games, 2 against the Commanders, and then even this last game against the Cowboys. I just feel like they are still winning, but I think they will have a slip up. Hopefully the Lions can like capitalize on that. Chiefs, I just think best defense they probably had since Mahomes has been on the team. And you have him. I think their offensive coordinator is fucking terrible. Being Matt Nagy. So
No
I think
bias.
that might I think that might kind of screw them. A little, I mean, they have looked a little down on offense, and I blame it all on him. So I think they're take a little step back on offense, but I still think that defense and just Mahomes kind of gets them through, to JD's point, the gauntlet of the AFC, but especially the Bills and Bengals. But Bills, I mean, who knows? They might not even get there, which
Hope
They're
not.
currently not in the playoff picture.
Wow.
yeah. So I still
like
think they'll
that.
figure it out, but yeah, I do like the Bengals a lot. I think I think the Chiefs win. I think whoever makes it out of the AFC wins regardless, but that's just
That's it.
me.
I wanted to choose the Chiefs for pretty much the same reason you said. I think it's the best defense Patty Mahomes has ever had, and like their offense has been like all right, but their defense is like killing people.
Yeah.
They asked Mahomes that after the game yesterday. And if
Yeah.
it was the best defense he's ever had, and he's like, yeah, it's best in the league. I'm like, I mean, they're good. It's just hard to say. Like, fucking Browns, like they're like breaking records on defense. Like, I mean, the Niners is still good. They've had a couple bad weeks, but I mean, who's to say? There's
But it's got Chase Young too.
Yeah.
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's going to be a hard
they're
one
coming
to
off a
top.
bye. Yeah.
But if the Dolphins are the best offense, I mean, they were breaking records and everything, and they
Yeah,
got shut
true.
down basically. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like
It'll
one
be
of the few
fun.
teams that Tyreek is like not score like past 100 receiving yards. I feel like, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true, but it just seemed like he kind of got bottled up.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he definitely did.
I don't know.
I like those picks. I like those picks. There's no repeats. Like those are 3 unique matchups, which is cool.
Not to go too far on a tangent, but I feel like Chase Young, like tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like defensive end / tackle / line rusher might be one of the easiest to like join another team and immediately just have an impact. Like you don't need to know the playbook as much. Like
Yeah, you just run straight.
Yeah,
I know there
yeah.
goes more.
yeah,
goes
take
into
off
it.
people's heads. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely more into it. You got to like different assignments and like I don't know, trick plays or whatever stunts, but still.
I
Yeah.
mean, on the flip side, I think one of the craziest stories like ever is Josh Dobbs.
I knew you were gonna bring up
Dude.
Dobbins.
Yeah.
He is the man. I gotta say it. I
Yeah,
kind of hated
no,
him
he
on the
is.
Titans last year. I mean, he was okay. Did not believe in him on the Cardinals. Dude, I mean, I've got a lot of stake in the Vikings just because I have some Vikings fantasy players, but the way he played, I mean, I was watching something today. It might have been on Get Up. I don't know, but they were saying,
you know, and it
probably
definitely was Get Up, and you
It
definitely
was either
know.
that or NFL Network. I can't remember. Hopefully, it was NFL Network. Has a lot more credibility. But um, they were saying Dobbs could literally get the Vikings to the playoffs. Like, how insane that would be. Like, dude, like all this stories coming out about him. Like, he didn't know the guys' names. Like, he didn't know any of the plays, and he led him on a game-winning drive. Like, that was insane. He put up like 25 fantasy points,
He didn't
and
take
that's
a
what.
practice snap with them, which is
No.
kind of just like maybe malpractice. I don't know if that's the best word, but like maybe
If he's your
you just think
backup,
you just think nothing's ever going to go wrong with the starter. Like give him a couple
Right.
of reps at least, or like
right?
at least introduce him to the team or something. But
Especially if you're the backup. Like, if you're third string, I get it. Like,
Yeah,
just
that's-
study
yeah,
up, whatever.
that's like all hell breaks loose. But like
But-
anything can happen to the starter.
Yeah. I mean, the NFL, who would have thought a guy could get concussed in the NFL where
You're right. I know.
grown men basically try to murder each other and this
Especially
guy
with
got a
the
concussion.
rules around it now, they're more like strict about it. So
Yeah.
you think they
And
have
watching
like a
that
little bit more
game,
planning.
right. And watching that game, the Vikings line is absolutely horrible.
You're right.
So,
Yeah,
and that doesn't help.
it's bound to happen.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully Jefferson comes back off IR this week, and that'd be pretty huge.
Yeah, no bias.
No particular reason, but
You got no interest in that at all.
nah, I just like the guy.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That would be great. But yeah, those are some good picks. I like those.
I like them.
Yeah. So we
Covered a lot of
well-
bases in those 3 picks.
what'd you say?
Covered a lot of bases. Like a lot of teams were putting that.
Oh
have
yeah.
Yeah,
serious
yeah.
contenders.
So hopefully at least 2 of them make it.
I think
Mhm.
we'll get the winner right because I think I like our AFC picks. I think we all chose AFC to win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So yeah, I mean, good chances there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know we are a movie podcast, even though we just started off with NFL and not even transitioning to movies yet. But if you have been listening to us so far, we have also been listening to a year of Billboard hits every week and give our favorites of that year. And I think last week, well, not last week, but last time we recorded, we decided to do 2002, I believe. So yeah, we're going to give our favorites of that year. I'll start just because I picked the movie for this week, so just keep it in that order. I have another repeat band from not even too far ago. It was like 3 picks ago. Picked the same band. I mean, just this year overall, I mean, I keep saying this, but it just keeps getting better and better. And harder to pick these, but this one was a close one. But like I said, I do have a repeat with the band. It's one of my favorites, Goo Goo Dolls. This song is Here Is Gone. Really love that song. So that's what I went with for 2002, but excited to hear what you guys picked. So Tom, leave it off to you.
Yep, that is a banger. Yeah, it's crazy. There's like you could pick like 40 of these are like good, and before it was like they all suck. So
Yeah.
that's nice that they're getting better for sure. I've got one that might be a little controversial for you guys. It's a controversial band, not for anything like political or anything. It's just some people hate them, some people love them. The song is Hero by Chad Kroeger, who's the lead singer of Nickelback.
I
That's
didn't
my
even know
choice. Yeah. It's Hero. It's from the first Spider-Man soundtrack.
that. Is it?
Yeah,
Wait, I
It's-
think I'm thinking of a different song.
it's a banger.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely
you'll have
thinking
to-
of a different song.
yeah,
I'm thinking of the
probably.
Gabriel Iglesias one, I think. Like I Can Be
Definitely
Your
not.
Hero, Baby.
No,
That's not that, right?
no.
Okay.
You'll have to check it out after this. But it's when
So
you
he
watch
just
what
went
this-
he just went solo for that song, I guess.
It says he's featuring
No, but like he
Josie Scott.
so he was that before like Nickelback started then, I guess, or
No, because I guess not, because there's actually a Nickelback song on this album or on this list.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he just did like a solo
got it. Okay.
project. I've actually heard I think the song is actually the Hero song is actually by Nickelback. But maybe it literally is just Chad Kroeger and it's under that name. But yeah, it was in the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and it goes pretty hard. I must
Yeah,
say.
because How You Remind Me by Nickelback was also on that playlist.
Yep.
So
Love
unless
that
it's
song.
been- Yeah.
That's I mean, not to get too on a tangent there, but I think Nickelback got hosed with that
They
just
did.
blanket treatment of hey, these guys suck. Like
Right.
if
Know
you
where that
like this
came from.
band, I don't know where it came from either, but I
It was
love
kind of like, oh, dude, they're
like
I
I'm not
used
saying
to-
they're like my top 10 band of ever or anything, but like there's not a song I really don't like that I've heard by them.
when I was in grade school, I don't think I had the CD, but I think I know somebody that did, and so I like took it, put it on my iPod. You know, you could do that. Like you put like
Oh,
a
yeah.
physical CD in the computer, move it over to your
Yeah,
iPod.
yeah.
I definitely did that with that Nickelback, like with the Car on It album.
Hmm.
Dude,
Big
yeah,
guys
I
that
always
from that year around there.
it probably had like Photograph, like it
Yeah.
was that's a great song, by the way. I just heard that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they are great. Like that's the thing, like they're kind of like that AMC stock. Like people just decide to do it and they just
Yeah.
go with it. Which I want to see that movie still, but
Same.
um
Money.
dumb money, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my pick. What do you got, JD?
I went with like you guys said. There's actually a lot of good songs in this. I kind of went with a nostalgia song. Plus it's like still relevant somehow. Like I don't know, but like a lot of white dudes. I grew up liking Eminem, so I chose "Lose Yourself." Like it's on my
Good
pump
one.
up playlist. It's still pretty relevant. Somehow I hear it like way more than you would expect, considering it came out 20 years ago. But yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
I love the 8 Mile movie too. So it's like a pretty big part of that movie.
Yeah,
it still
definitely.
plays. Like if you need, I don't know really what I would need to get pumped up for at this age, but if you do,
I was thinking
like
that too.
it's still play, like it still will do that for you.
Also, so back when I used to go to work, I used to have like a playlist I listened every day going to work, and it was just like songs I like, not necessarily pump up. Dude, after like 6 months, I hated every song because I was going to work when I had to listen to them.
Right. Yeah. That's
So, recommend
tough.
not doing that.
It's like Pavlov's dog, but opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally, yeah.
Disincentivizes you to go to work or stop
That's like
listening to the song.
if you guys have ever done that, like made your alarm like a song, like that was a big thing back in the day, you will
Oh, yeah.
hate that
Yeah.
song so
Yep.
much.
Yeah.
So don't
My
recommend
dad
it.
uses my dad uses my old alarm, and every now and then he'll just set an alarm to like remind me of something. I'm like, that's like nails on a chalkboard. Whatever it is,
Yep.
turn it off.
Yeah. Literally is. It's like crazy. It makes you like cringe, like want
Yeah.
to pull your hair out. Yeah, it's nuts the way that works.
Yeah.
Oh, not to break the action, but it looks like there was a punt return touchdown by the
Yeah.
Chargers in the Monday night game.
87
Really?
yarder.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which sucks because got some prop bets going.
Yeah. I know.
That does not help.
That doesn't help anyone.
Nope.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's 2002 then for Billboard hits. So we'll be doing 2003 next time we record. So if you're listening and following along with us, feel free to join along, and then we'll talk about our favorites next time. And then if you also listened last time, we had a movie, of course, since we are a movie podcast. I chose the selection this past time, and that was The Big Short. So we'll be going through our scores on that and talking about that. So I will kick it off with the score here. Chose this movie because first time I watched it, pretty sure it was in high school, and I remember liking it, but I always want to revisit it. Never came to streaming that I can recall. It was one of the ones on my short list where I was like, anytime this comes to any streaming I have or have a password to, like I'm gonna watch it immediately. And then just happened to work out timing wise that this finally came on. And I liked it even more last time I watched it. Like I love this movie. It's so good. It takes something that, I mean, it is a very interesting thing how this all happened with the housing market and everything, but at the same time, like on paper it might be kind of boring, but it like, makes it not boring and super entertaining. So I love this movie, huge fan. We'll get into it more, but this is super high score for me at a 95 out of 100. Tom, how about you? What'd you think of it?
Yeah. Feel almost like the exact same way. I think I saw this movie once, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Remember I liked it, but rewatching it was awesome. Like truly agree. I absolutely loved it. I have a really, really high score for it too, and I've got it at a 97.
All right.
So we're in the same ballpark.
Yep.
Yeah, not to sound like an echo chamber. I have seen this movie probably 5 or more times. But it's like one of those movies where every time you watch it, it's like you understand it a little bit more, like learn
That's
like a little
it.
bit
Yeah.
more about what happened. So it's like, I mean, like you said, on paper, it doesn't sound like a very great movie, but they do a really good job keeping it entertaining. The characters are just hilarious, but also just like super intriguing as characters can be. But I'm tied with Ryan at a 95.
All right.
It's gonna be up there for our top
Very.
rating.
I think this is our second highest that we've done on the podcast, at least. Coming at
Yeah.
95.7, rounded up
Yep.
average.
95.7. Yeah.
So yeah, I think our highest is Shawshank, but yeah, so it's
Mhm.
definitely in good company. I mean, like you guys said, I mean, obviously agree with all of that. I think it is kind of reminded me a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street in the sense that, like, I like how they do kind of like the sides. If that's the right terminology, where, like, they talk to the camera, like they address the camera.
Like they
Whether
break the
it-
third wall or whatever.
yeah, whether it's with Ryan Gosling doing it just himself, or uh they bring a few different cameos to like explain some things. I just thought that was like awesome way to break it up a bit, break up, like, I guess the dense details of some of it, even though the way they talked about it all, like, I loved it. I just think, I mean, just to kind of start with, the cast was incredible. I think, like, it's basically like a 10 out of 10 cast that you can get, I think. Even without like the cameos, like some of those were great too, but just like the main staples with Gosling, Brad Pitt, which I don't even know if he was like main character, I guess, but
Right.
Steve Carell,
Steve
like,
Carell, yeah.
they all killed it in their roles. Like, the acting was incredible. Like, Steve Carell, everyone I think knows him. I think it's fair to say, like, Michael Scott is his most prominent and most popular role, but it's a shame that he's not in. I mean, I'm sure he's in like quite a few movies, but I don't think he gets like the recognition in movies that he probably deserves, or even like a chance to do it. But I thought his character in this was great. Um, but yeah, I was really just impressed with the cast overall, but then like the acting as well. Like, I don't think there was any role that didn't live up to like the level of the other ones. I think it was awesome as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. That's honestly what stood out to me. Christian Bale too.
Christian Bale, yep.
His character is awesome. Um, yeah, I thought that too. Like, honestly, halfway, like, Ryan Gosling's character was just killing me, and I'm like, he
Yeah.
looks like the thing. Him and Brad Pitt. Like, at first, I didn't even realize it was those two. Like, I was just like, I think they were so good at just playing like these business guys. I'm like, yeah, this guy sounds really familiar. I'm like, oh, of course it's Ryan Gosling. And then same with the Ben Rickard guy. I'm like, he kind of sounds a little bit like Brad Pitt. I'm like, oh yeah, it is Brad Pitt. Like, the acting is great. Um, a mutual friend of ours, I remember when this movie came out, he was telling me his dad's like a big business guy, and he was like, yeah, I saw it with my dad. We both loved it. He loved all the business stuff, and then they also had Margot Robbie like explaining the movie in a bathtub. I love that part. I was just like, all right. So I heard that description. I had no idea what the movie was about. I mean, on paper, it does sound like boring as hell. But like you said, JD, the more you watch it, and like, plus the ability to like pause and be like, okay, what does that mean? Like, okay, that happens, which means like bond prices go up. Like, the ability to like think through it when like streaming it, like, this is kind of like the opposite of Oppenheimer. Like, watching Oppenheimer in theaters, I kind of needed to like pause it and be like, all right, what does that, like, think it through for a minute. But it just keeps going. The dialogue's fast. There's no subtitles. This was a good one to have subtitles, I feel like, and just think through it, pause every so often. But yeah, so the more you watch it, the more you understand it. It's just awesome, awesome movie. And I think the kind of the cherry on top is that not only did this happened like a decade ago. Like, it's happened. I remember like this stage of our lives, like we were like middle school when this stuff I don't really remember all the how it happened. I remember more so like the economy being bad. I just remember people like talking about like gas prices going up and stuff, and like
Yeah.
not so much the housing crash, but like, this is insane. Like, now being an adult, like, I can appreciate it more, I think. Like, if something like that happened today, like, who knows what would happen? People were terrified for their jobs. Like, this really did kind of shut down the economy of the world. So it's insane. It's insane. Like, yeah, it's just a crazy story. They did it perfectly, I think. Michael Lewis is the guy who wrote the book, and he's written some bangers for sure. It was like a perfect movie adaptation, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that it actually happened because I think that's part of the reason. Like, if this didn't actually happen, it would be kind of a wild story, but like, it wouldn't.
Right.
I mean, it would just be like, all right, some like economic movie. It's pretty cool. Like, characters are still good, but like the fact all of this actually happened, it just like, I mean, I think we all love like true stories adapted into movies. Um, but that like makes it just blow out of the water for me. Also, Tom, I'm surprised you didn't mention one of the actresses in this, Marissa Tomei.
Oh,
Girl's
yeah,
wife. She gets like killed like
that's right.
time that she slept on.
Yes.
But yeah, like just like you guys said, the character's amazing, and like they also do a really good job of not making like they know most people watching this movie don't understand half the terms in there, so they'll pause it
Right.
or they'll put at the bottom CDO and like or ISDA or whatever like the
Yeah.
multiple things they put on there are. So like you can follow it without pausing like at your phone or like if you do pause it's still fine, but like they give you enough tools to where you're not going to be completely lost trying to follow like all the economic side of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think another, speaking of that, like just the terms, I feel like that Jenga scene has like become
Oh,
kind of
that's my
like an
favorite one.
iconic scene. I've just seen like clips of it pop up on YouTube. So I feel like that's probably maybe the most famous scene of this movie, but Ryan Gosling, that he was killing me at that part where he just like everything his like henchman said, he would just like make some comment and that guy would be like, yeah, you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great, but overall, I mean, dude, I went high on this. Like I was between like 96 and 97 the whole time. Like I think it was really entertaining and it's a great, great movie. Like I
Yeah.
really don't have anything bad to say about it.
It's got like that. I don't know if like glow's the right term. I don't know. There's just some movies that like pop on screen so much and just it's hard to describe, but it's really kind of just like a feeling you have watching it than anything you
Yeah.
can kind of point to. But it's got that in it for me where you're just like engaged the whole time, even if it is, boring ish plot, not like plot, but subject material. Um, like it still just like hums the whole way. Never felt like it was too long or anything or dragged in any points. Like it just like kept going and going. And to your point, JD, I think I mean surprisingly do like a lot of movies that are about real like events and everything like that. Like when you do it, but I think there are some where they kind of just miss. Like this one could have been adapted in a way that was super boring or just like didn't really maybe like stuck to the actual events more but didn't have like the vigor or whatever that this one has and it just wouldn't have hit the same but like this and like others as well for some that are good but like I don't know I just this has that kind of feel to it where you're just never bored like and you're just like in basically trapped in there like with the movie and I just loved every second of it so yeah huge fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, perfectly said, honestly. Like, yeah, I mean, it's like constantly exciting without a lot of things happening.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
It's
perfectly put.
yeah,
I think I think that like the characters do a great job of that. Like it creates a little bit of like an urgency. Like it almost feels like there's like a ticking time bomb going on. And like I think they do a good job of explaining like the timeline of that, where like I think it's Christian Bale's character is like the first one in on it. And
Mhm.
he's like literally betting the farm and like all of his investors are like, get me out of this, get me out of this. And then it shows like without really overlapping, it shows people in like all these different walks of life. Like Steve Carell's bank gets like Ryan Gosling tells Steve Carell's bank about it. These guys in like Colorado that are doing their own thing, like they figure out about it. Like it does a good job, I think, too, just like creating that pressure of like there's pressure on all sides. And then when like the first wave starts to hit of like mortgages are defaulting and whatnot, like it really like it almost feels like it's building up without like a real like there's no like action, there's no like real, you know, crazy like explosion climax of the movie, but like there is a climax of the movie. And I think they just do a really good job with the build up. Like I think you can
Yeah,
kind of feel the slow build up the whole time without, because people are taking these huge bets, like, the Big Short, like this huge, huge financial bet, and like you can kind of feel the weight of it the whole time, I think.
It's also kind of like a bittersweet, like dark ending. Like all the people you're
Yeah.
rooting for the entire time end up winning, but like 99% of America just gets screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Unless
do
you're
they?
invested with Michael Burry, who made like billions of dollars off it,
Yeah.
like you lost a lot.
Right. Like,
Mhm.
do they? It's kind of like, I mean, I know Tommy already compared it to it, but Oppenheimer, like, Oppenheimer won, like he,
Right.
won for like America and everything, but also like what cost kind of thing, and like does like you win, but are there really any winners? Because like these guys, they won making money off of it, but at the same time, it's like the whole country kind of is screwed. At that, obviously they bounce back, but still, it's like a lot of people lost their jobs and everything like that, and just like was nuts. That's why I do like my favorite scene is probably the Jenga, just because I think that encompasses everything I like about the movie just in one scene, like being able to explain it like very easily to where you don't have to like have any prior knowledge about any of these things. Super entertaining, funny, like the acting was great. But the scene where those guys go back in, or I guess they weren't in there, but they just go in on that floor
Oh yeah.
where everything's just like a mess in that I don't know, was that, I think that was on Wall Street, maybe not,
Yeah. I
but
can't
they
remember
just
which like
go in
bank
there.
it was, but like
Yeah,
Lehman
and then
Brothers
it's
or
just
something.
like I just thought that was like an awesome scene, not because like it was like sad for sure, but just like just the weight of everything, like you said, Tom, was like building up, and then it just like holy cow, like look what just happened. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's hard to believe that happened because we lived it, which is nuts. I feel like a lot of these movies that are about like real events, like maybe were before we were born and everything, but we actually did live this, even though I don't really remember it happening, like you guys said, too much. But it's just like it's crazy that like stuff like that actually happens.
hmm Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing movies that like were in our lifetime because you see it from a different perspective or like didn't like I remember seeing that American Patriot movie with Mark Wahlberg and thought that was an amazing movie and I'm like this happened like in high school and like this stuff happened in like middle school. Like it's crazy and I think they mentioned it at the end of the movie but like no one or I think one person went to jail. Like one banker went to
Yeah,
jail.
which
And
is
it was like not even
insane.
that high, like high up level of a guy. It was
Yeah, just a random dude.
yeah,
Yeah. And then the government bailed out all the banks, which is wild.
yeah, it's incredible. Like
hmm
it just like shows like money rules everything. Like they like banks or whatever, Wall Street just does whatever they want. Doesn't matter. Like they just get jail free cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of showed the corrupt side of like not so distant history. Cause it's like one thing if you're like, you watch like Goodfellas or The Godfather or like movie about like Al Capone or something. It's like, oh yeah, it's so long ago. But like this was 10, 15 years ago. It's pretty insane.
yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just think, or what are you saying, Jay?
It is wild. Like at the very beginning too, Ryan Gosling's character, Jared Vanette, he's like talking about the
hmm
dude who created mortgage-backed securities. And he's like,
hmm
dude, he influenced your life more than like, YouTube, the iPod, and Michael Jordan combined. And I still can't remember his name. I watched the movie earlier today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's a
it's
Yeah.
just
good point. Yeah.
yeah, some banker created something that just destroyed our whole economy, and like I
hmm
still don't know who it is.
No,
Yeah.
no clue. It's always interesting how much stuff like this behind the scenes is going on, and then like you don't know about it unless something like this happens and it like blows up. So like, yeah, it's wild. Like I think too, you guys talked about it like these being like true stories. Like I feel like these like business movies wouldn't really work if they weren't true stories because like they're usually about something like crazy. Like if Wolf of Wall Street wasn't based on a true story, I don't know if like I'd still like it, but it like sometimes it's like that is way too crazy to ever
Yeah.
happen. Like it's not as believable, but then it's based on somebody's life. It's like, damn, that's
Yeah.
insane.
If they Wolf of Wall Street, I would agree. Like it would just be like, yeah, it just seems like they want to make some movie about like some wild rich guy. Like it's not
Right. Like party
like
boy stockbroker guy. Like,
Right. Yeah. There's
like it's
that like allure of it being real, and you're like,
hmm
how in the hell did this happen? And it just
right.
makes it better. And when you execute like you did in this one, or Wolf of Wall Street, I think they did a good job there. I mean, I can go on and on, but I just think that really packs like an extra punch in it,
hmm
especially if you wrap it up well too, where it like sticks with you too. So I think that this one obviously did that.
And I think a
Yeah.
lot of what those movies do really well is like, because obviously, well, not necessarily Wolf of Wall Street, I guess, but like with this movie, we all know how it ends. Like everyone knows
Yeah.
everything just crashes, completely tanks. They do a really good job of like keeping you interested, like not even necessarily caring about the ending as far as just like how did we get there? Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of movies you watch, like, dude, like this have a crazy ending or something. It's like, no, we know how this one ends. The crazy part is how it got there and like what happened, people did during the whole time span.
That's
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a testament of a good movie when it's like you
Yeah.
know how it ends and you're still like locked in. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. Like they went down to like Florida. Like that was one where you like actually could kind of feel like when they went to that guy's house and he's
That's one
like,
of my
dude, like
favorite
I'm
scenes.
I'm paying. It's like, damn, that's
The
like
landlord's
heartbreak.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. But like you're like, oh my gosh, like this is like you said, JD, like it is heartbreaking. And like I think Ben Rickard or whatever his name is, he said that at one point, like to the two guys, those guys are clowns, like
Yeah,
Charlie and
yeah.
like Jamie or whatever
Yeah.
their names are. But he was like, you realize like you're betting against the American economy. Like if this really happens, like people are gonna lose their jobs, their houses, and all that. Like it's true, it was wild. Like I liked his character a lot too. Like him putting that sail in from that like pub in England was hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I liked his character. I mean, there were no bad characters. I mean, even like the lower tier ones, like those guys were hilarious. Like Max Greenfield was in it from the guy from New Girl,
Oh, Schmidt. Yeah.
Schmidt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
He
he
was a
was
tool and a
hilarious.
douche,
Dude,
but like
he was
he was,
Right.
you need, roles like that of the
Yeah.
guys that, are the ones that aren't getting in trouble and shit like that. Like you
Right.
said, JD, like no one even besides one fall guy got like actually thrown in jail or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
like bad character in the sense that bad guy, but like you said, Don, like they're still entertaining and you love those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's funny.
yeah, they're talking about it. It's like, dude, immigrants don't have bad enough credit for him. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's crazy.
one stripper is like, yeah, I own 5 houses. I have like 3 mortgages on each. I'm like, like obviously I was not alive and I didn't know how mortgages worked then. Well, I was alive, but I didn't know how mortgages worked then. But like just think about that now. I'm like, dude, that sounds like incredibly irresponsible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that literally sounds like hell.
Yeah.
Right. Don't even like
Yeah.
one.
Right. Yeah, it was a wild movie. Like it was really good. Yeah, I mean, we all loved it, which is a good testament. I think it's a little different than Wolf of Wall Street just because Wolf of Wall Street has a lot more going on in terms of
Yeah.
like off the field issues, but because like all these guys are like pretty stable.
Yeah.
The one guy I loved was Steve Carell's like his like right hand, his quant or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Thought that was hilarious. Also Jared's like quant or whatever.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was funny. But yeah, I mean, amazing movie. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I would definitely. We talk about rewatchable movies. I would definitely
Oh, yeah.
rewatch this
Easily up there.
many times over.
And yeah, and like we already harped on, but when you know the ending of a movie even before you watch it, but then after you watch it and still want to rewatch it, like that's a good indication that it's probably a good one. So
Mhm. Yep.
Completely.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very good.
I was gonna say, yeah, anything we didn't really like about it. The only reason I don't have it higher, I mean, 95 is pretty damn high. It's just like there's
Mhm.
some that I have higher above it that I just enjoyed more, not necessarily like a better movie, but I didn't really have any qualms or anything.
I would say that's exactly the same as me. Like, I think the movie was done just about as good as it could be.
Yeah.
It's just as far as like an enjoyment standpoint, there's just movies I like more.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. The only thing that would keep it from like a 99 or 100 is just like those are the movies that are like the best I've ever seen. And like this one's really, really good. It's just I mean, with the story and I like you said, JD, I think that's a good way to put it. Like they made it as strong as they could have, I think.
Yeah, like I think with the limited like amount of material you have to work with to keep it like based in reality, like it honestly might be like as good as you're gonna get. Like 100 out of 100.
Better, maybe. Yeah.
Like pound for pound, yeah.
Like I don't I don't see in our lifetime anyone making a more enjoyable, like historically accurate, just better movie for that same like topic.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's very strong.
Yeah.
I hope they don't too, because I mean they might
No,
make like documentaries, which are fine, but like
Or
they
like
just hit this one so good.
maybe kind of like Wolf of Wall Street style, where it's like they look at more of like a banker and they show him like off the field when people are giving millions of dollars to do like bet against the housing market, because they're like dancing as soon as like Christian Bale walks in there. Like,
Yeah.
Plunk.
Yeah.
Like maybe like reverse it, see one of those guys, but
That'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think that'd
that'd
be interesting too. Then at the end,
Yeah.
you see all the way crashing down, but then he just like gets back on his feet.
Yeah.
Doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they would go to those like conferences and stuff, and like there'd be the guys that like remember the one guy, it was like a face off of, I forget who it was, versus like Steve Carell's character.
Oh
He
yeah.
was talking about like why you should keep investing, and like people in the crowd were just like, it's dropped like 40% since you started talking and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
if you showed it from like one of those guys' perspectives, it'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It would be great.
But yeah, from the aspect we saw and everything, I don't think you're gonna beat it.
Right. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, it's very strong. I loved it. I'm glad we watched this one, because it gave me a good reason to rewatch it and check it back out again. So
Yeah.
it's
So,
been too
yeah,
long.
I think that is a ringing endorsement. If you haven't seen this, go see it. You don't have to go, just turn it on Netflix, or
Yeah.
actually I think it just left Netflix, but I'm sure it's going to be on something else.
On YouTube, but I wouldn't recommend it. I told these guys before we started I was watching it on YouTube, and there's a commercial every 5 minutes, and
It's tough. Yeah, so maybe just rent it then at that
There you
point
go.
on Amazon. But yeah, that's the Big Short. I think not much more to say about it. Obviously, we loved it. I think we said, yeah, it's a 95.7 cumulatively. And on our big board, it's an interesting company it's around. It's number 20, well, actually 19 technically.
Yeah.
Right in between Forrest Gump, which we're all pretty high on, and then Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the like claymation, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Which
Yeah.
only is rated by Tom currently, so we'll see if that stays true. But
You guys got to watch it.
yeah,
Hey,
oh, I've seen it. I
Chris,
just wanted to rewatch it to give it a
Yeah,
fresher
that's
score.
awesome.
But
Fair shake.
I do like that movie. I mean, yeah, for Christmas movie, it's up there, and
That's
one of the
legit.
best.
Right around the corner. I'm probably gonna
It's
watch
true.
it.
Yeah, I actually will 100% watch that in the next 2 months.
Should.
So,
Yeah, 25 days of Christmas is right around the corner.
yeah.
Which
So,
I gotta say, I feel like the holidays are just getting bumped up to like their schedule's like off. Like people are like putting up their like Christmas stuff in my
Oh,
neighborhood and
yeah.
stuff. I'm like, it's crazy.
Well, that's just
Uh,
once Halloween is over. Well, actually, literally across the street from us, there were 3 houses that put up Christmas lights on the same day, and it was actually like 2 or 3 days before Halloween.
That's
That's a little early.
I
Yeah.
will say I heard someone in my neighborhood mention something like that, and they said their idea is to put them up. It depends. I don't know if your neighbors are turning them on, but they were like, "We'll put them up now
they
while
have it
it's
on.
warm, and keep them off." But no, they got them
Yeah.
on. That's something.
Well, one has them on. I
Move.
think the other ones are subscribing to that theory, because that is a good point. Like,
Yeah.
especially in when it gets super cold, like
Yeah,
might as
if you live
well
somewhere cold, yeah.
get it up while you can, and then just don't celebrate yet by
Right.
not turning them on. So that's fair. But no, I agree with that. I didn't know where you were going with that point, but yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it has the Christmas celebrators have been, just getting that itch, I guess, earlier. It seems like.
Yeah, I will say some people, a decent amount. My neighborhood goes all out on decorations. Like everybody puts stuff up for Halloween. Like there's a lot of like blow up turkeys and stuff now for Thanksgiving, which personally, as I've gotten older, like Thanksgiving always just blocked Christmas for me when I was younger. But like the older I get, the more I love Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Like,
me
it is
too.
awesome.
I love Thanksgiving, but it is the one holiday where it's not really a decorating holiday. So
Nah,
I have seen the blow up
mean,
turkeys and everything,
minimal.
but I'll just never, as much as I love Thanksgiving, I don't think I'll ever be that person. But
Right. Yeah, I don't think so. But I gotta say, it is awesome. Love the food.
Yeah.
Football all day, like literally no responsibilities, no gifts. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's great. Nothing wrong with it at all. I'm excited for it.
Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. My boy Austin Eckler scored a touchdown.
Yeah,
Saw
he
that.
did. Scored
it
2
back.
actually. 1 got called back, but
I did see that. Or
Yeah.
I just have it up on my phone like the game cast.
Same. I
One
have that on
on
my
hold.
computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's some Thanksgiving and holiday talk plus The
Mhm.
Big Short.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be watching another movie from now until next time we record. And I think Tom, you're up with the choice. So what's it going to be?
Yep. It's a movie that has some high praise. It's also on Netflix around the same time. I started it one time. I never finished it, but I've heard it's awesome. I think I just ran out of time. La La Land is my
Oh,
choice.
fuck yeah.
I think you guys have both seen it probably.
I have.
I have. I don't know if I have it rated, but I wanted to watch
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if it's on our sheet or not,
It's
but
on there.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Might
on
have to
there.
change my score, but
I have not rated. I remember liking it, but I think I saw it maybe in theaters when it came out, and I haven't seen it since.
Yeah. So I feel like this would be a good one. I've been wanting to watch it. I know people absolutely love it. Um, and yeah, I just never watched the whole thing, so I'm excited to actually watch it.
Yeah,
And
check it out too.
yeah, so I'm excited for that.
yeah, awesome. Well, that's gonna be a good one. So yeah, tune in for that, and we'll be doing 2003 billboards as
Mhm.
well. But yeah, besides that, what have you guys been watching other than movie? I will say for me, I was doing a little bit of traveling, so I haven't really kept up with too many shows besides Gen V, which I think me and JD,
Oh yeah.
it's like a spinoff of The Boys. Tom, I don't know if you've
Mhm.
watched it yet, but
I haven't seen it yet.
it's just as I would say just barely below The Boys, maybe, but like
Yeah.
honestly, kind of just as good. So like I
Wow.
highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Besides that, I did have a lot of flight time. I don't know what equivalent of windshield time is with the
Cloud
flight,
time.
but yeah, cloud time.
Mm.
So I watched some movies I just never saw on the flight, which I will say it's not ideal watching on a screen this big, but
Right.
being on a
perfect
flight, it's a perfect time to do
Dude,
it because you have
couldn't agree
nothing else to
more.
do. You focus in on it. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It goes,
I
it
couldn't
goes by so fast too.
I
I
couldn't agree more
watched,
with that take.
yeah, I watched,
I always think of flights as like, all right, I catch up on a couple movies because they
yeah,
usually have a
it's
really good
perfect.
selection too.
Oh yeah,
one.
no, that's the other thing. It's like it's movies that I didn't see in theaters
Right.
and just never got around to it. Weren't on streaming, but they're on Delta flights.
That's
And
why I
I
watched Banshees
watched
of Inisherin.
that was
It's
yeah,
like
that's a
a year
perfect one.
old. Like, yeah,
I watched Super Mario Bros, which I know that
nice.
was a very talked about movie on this podcast for us, which was
Yeah.
a super fun movie. Like definitely geared
Yeah.
more towards children,
Solid.
but I liked it. I had a blast with it. Um, watched John Wick 4, which was like a super long movie, still good. And then one I would recommend if you're on a flight or if it's on anywhere streaming, I don't know, but it's called Searching. And it's got uh I guess it would be Harold from Harold and Kumar in it.
Oh, nice.
And his like daughter goes missing and it's actually really good. It was like a very good surprise, like nice surprise. When I like just kind of when watching on a whim when I saw like the picture of it on there. It was really good. So recommend it. But that's all I've been watching. How about you guys?
Yeah. Go ahead, JD.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, you already mentioned Gen V, so I've been watching that. Also, another Amazon Prime show, Invincible season 2 just came
Oh
out.
yeah.
Very similar vibe to The Boys, not exactly the same plot line or anything, but very similar. It is animated though. Um,
Nothing
but
wrong
yeah,
with that.
yeah, pretty much been it. For me, I really much like Gen V. I wish there was more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We just finished watching Jury Duty, which I think I was talking to both you
Yeah.
guys about.
Yeah.
Great show, honestly. Like really cool concept. I didn't know at first how it was gonna end up. Really, really cool. And then we just started rewatching Entourage. So that's one of my all-time favorites is in terms of like an easy watch. So like nice to get through a episode or two of that a night after you work all day. So movie wise, honestly, the last movie I saw you guys would probably shit on. It was the Taylor Swift concert movie. I got dragged I got dragged to
Wait, you
to
saw it
that.
in theaters?
Yeah.
Oh boy, how was it?
It was
You got
it was
dragged
the
to it, or did you do the dragging? Because you're a pretty big Swiftie.
I'm not. I might be I might be like borderline now. But no, I got dragged to it. It was the night after we all got together last. So I was like the movie was at like 8 o'clock, just sitting there like breaking out in a sweat, being so hungover. It was good. I'm usually not a guy to like watch a concert like on TV, but it was impressive. I will say, like, for all the stuff about Taylor Swift, her concert tickets are so pricey and everything. I actually talked with JD's girlfriend about this last time I saw her, but it was very, very impressive. I'll give it up to her for that. Like, she definitely puts on a really incredible show.
Does the movie include like behind the scenes and stuff too, or
Not
no? Is it
really.
just
I
the
think it's
performance?
just a concert. We actually left a little bit early because like it was starting to get late, and
Oh, you left the movie early?
we left a little bit early.
I guess it's not really a movie then, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. It
How long
doesn't
is
really
it?
matter. I want to say like 2.5 hours, something like that.
Mm.
Pretty long. My fiance had to work early the next day, so we left. And then honestly, the last movie I saw before that probably was also on a flight. It was Big George Foreman, which
Oh, yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
I gotta say. One of those movies that came out like a year or two ago and just missed it. So
So
it was really strong.
wait, so you said Jury Duty was a show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't seen the show Jury Duty. I thought you were talking when you were talking about the movie Jury Duty, but that's
No,
not.
I have no idea what that
What's
is.
the show Jury Duty? What's it on?
Oh, dude, you got to check it out. It's on Amazon. It's free. It's on like Freevee or whatever. So it's
Oh,
basically
okay.
just Amazon Prime
Yeah, I saw they like
with
bought that
ads.
or absorbed it
Yeah.
somehow.
So it's yeah, it's on there.
Who's in
It's
it? Anyone that's still
uh
notable or no?
James Marsden is
Oh,
like kind of the main guy. Honestly, I don't want to spoil it because
well,
it's
yeah. Don't.
honestly
I'll watch it now. I thought.
it's a wild ride. It's only 8 episodes too, but I gotta say it is pretty awesome.
Well,
Like
you should
I
watch
won't.
the movie then, because it's kind of like. I mean, it's not a good movie, so maybe don't watch it. But it reminds me kind
Oh,
of.
Pauly Shore.
Yeah, it reminds me of Grandma's Boy, kind of. But
Oh, okay.
Grandma's is that what it's called? Grandma's
Yeah,
isn't it?
Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, that one's better. That one's
That's a
more
good
funny and a
movie.
better movie, but it's
Hmm.
kind of like that same. I feel like same uh timeline of when it came out as that, but it feels like it would be around the same time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'll watch the show though. I didn't know there was a show with it.
It's super popular. Like doing like I didn't think anybody had heard of it, and then I think like I was at a wedding a couple weeks ago. JD was there, and I think I just asked like 2 or 3 people randomly if they've ever seen it. Like, oh yeah, I've seen it, and it just came out like this year,
Hmm.
2023. Yeah, it's really good. I didn't really know what it was about, and I think that's the way to go into it. Just not really knowing much, and it's an entertaining watch for sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, that's good to know. Good
Mhm.
recommendation then.
Yeah, I think it's worth a watch for sure.
Cool.
I think it's pretty
Well,
entertaining.
yeah. Well, I guess speaking of worth the watch, gonna be La La Land. Hopefully, is gonna be worth the watch for those who haven't seen it yet, which we'll be watching next week, and also listening to 2003 Billboard Hits. That's gonna be on the docket. But yeah, I guess I think that does it for today. But we'll see you guys next time.
Sounds good. See you guys. See you next week.